So, you're viewing this video because you are just as obsessed and ambitious as I once was as well. You have this natural desire for more. You are willing to put in the work to make sure that eventually you will yield some sort of results from this entire skill. And this skill being the skill of trading the financial markets. I'm making this video because I want to remind you that you can become somebody. My goal with this entire series is to give you the tools, all the necessary knowledge that you need in order to actually become somebody. Somebody that can take matter into their own hands and actually execute according to your own game plan. And the reason why I want to do this is because it is part of my legacy as well. And the only condition that I ask from you watching this video, is to kind of emulate what I do, but also give back that same level of enthusiasm. And what I want you to do before we continue in this video is to kind of pledge that commitment to me, but also to yourself. Pledge that commitment that from this point onwards, when you are viewing this video, no matter when you are viewing this video, that you will sit down and actually commit to this journey. The next amount of videos that come after this, because I'm currently recording the first video, and you have to realize that while watching this, you can already kind of see, if you're watching this 60 days in the future, you can see how long this series has become. But if you are watching this closer to the date of this recording, the entire trajectory of this series is in your hands. And all I ask for you is a little bit of commitment in return, because I am willing to put all my knowledge, all my 8 years of experience and professional experience as well, that only certain retail traders and other self-proclaimed experts could only dream of even achieving in the space that I've done at such a young age, that I'm giving all of that information, all of the information that I've absorbed as a sponge, being here as well at the Amsterdam Stock Exchange building. I'm giving all of that in this series, right? And all I ask for you is to commit to this, and commit only to this, because as we see with anything, right, there's always some sort of meta, there's always some sort of trend that forms. And now quite a lot you can see that the quote-unquote liquidity concepts are gaining more and more traction, which I love to see. I'm very fond of that. Why? Because I believe that I'm not taking credit for anything, right? It's not new. It's not a holy grail. It's not a revelation, a paradigm shift. But I do believe that there is a certain amount of momentum that I can give towards this trend. And I want to make sure that by doing so, you also have the right information, because it is probably the most misunderstood topic there is. The backbone of all of trading is liquidity. And it has been kind of redigested in numerous different packages and whatnot, whether it's ICT, SMC, supply and demand trading and whatnot, all flawed, right? So when I ask you to commit, I ask you to put your blinders on and dial in on only what I'm teaching you, on only Exodus. That will be the strategy that I teach privately to my students as well. They've already been applying Exodus, right? But now I'm opening up my doors in that sense and trying to fulfill and satisfy the public as well. I know that's going to be very difficult to do, and it's in my best interest to manage expectations with all of you, to make sure that I can answer questions, to make sure that I can level head as closely as possible between people that have a great understanding and people that have no understanding as well. So that is why I ask, my only favor that I ask in return of this entire series is that you commit. to this series. And a way of committing to that is by holding yourself accountable. And what I mean by that is that if you hold yourself accountable, you are making sure that you are sharpening your edge, but also increasing your learning curve, because you are looking at the mistakes that you make. You are looking at your entire past. You can see everything that you've done in the past. And you can also then look at the mistakes, because the biggest issue is, that's what I wish I had, right? I wish I had myself. What I'm doing now for you is what I wish that I had at the start of my journey, instead of me jumping from one strategy to another community, because I've got an open community. I've got a private community, which is my mentorship, but I've also got an open community. And even there, I've seen so much progression being made by simply interacting with the knowledge that I put out. But interacting in such a way that you're not here to put up an ego, right? And I've said that on social media numerous times as well, that your trading isn't a game of being right or wrong against the market. You're not here to prove that your analysis is correct, right? You and I, we're both technical traders, most likely. Even if you are fundamentally backed, 99% of fundamental traders are not in a position that they can influence data releases or have that information prior to the data release. So, they're not holding positions for 8 to 9 months. Let's be completely honest. So majority of you that are watching this video will be technical traders. You've got the candlesticks on your chart, fingers crossed, right? I don't want to be seeing any other type of line graphs or anything else. You're already on like the right kind of path. And as much as I will rewire all of that as well, and I do definitely advise you to watch everything in this series. If you're watching and you see this video and you know that there are 10 more videos after this, don't just skip to the latest one and be like, oh, I'm going to skip the topic where he talks about type of charts, or basic liquidity or supply and demand, because I'm going to try to break this down in chronological order, and I expect you to lock in and absorb all this knowledge in chronological order as well. No cheating this. There's no point. You're only shooting yourself in the foot. And I'm giving you an opportunity to dial in, to see how far I can kick this can in this series, and that all depends on you. Okay, so I want you to commit, and I want you to be holding yourself accountable. One way of doing that, and that is pretty much where this entire series becomes bigger than me. You and everyone else that is watching this video, write down in the comments the date that you're watching this video and that you are committing to this video, to this series, to this sequence, right? It's called Anomaly sequence because this is the sequence that makes you an outlier as well. So do that. And then I ask you, if you want to take it one step further, and this is where this entire thing becomes unison. We can, and I say we, because it's you and I and everyone watching this video, we can all create this communal feeling if you decide to do so. It's like game theory. The best interest is if we all make this best decision ourselves, right? And there is a situation where it's a win-win for both parties. In this case, there's no sacrifice, right? So the next level that you can do is, so you commit, you write in the comments, you write in the Discord that you are committing to Anomaly's sequence. The next thing that you can do is document your journey. In this day and age, and I've seen it, and it's my biggest regret that I have is that I didn't document the beginning of my journey, because I've put myself on let's say such a pedestal that I find it very difficult to be transparent and to not be perfect, because I'm very perfectionistic. And I want to do that more and more. And I want to do that through this series as well. I want to showcase my flaws. I want to showcase to you guys that I'm not perfect. But you have the opportunity now to do something so beautiful. So beautiful. You commit to this. You create some sort of Instagram page, because that's the easiest at the moment. any type of like diary journal that is public and you just go at it, right? Because imagine how beautiful it's gonna look after 1-2 years go by and you can look at your phone and you can be like, hey, this is pretty sick, right? You can see that you've got like a list, 300 posts, daily posts, where you've gone over notes. You're documenting the journey. You're like, oh, today, 15th of September, I'm just saying something. I'm watching Max's 20th video of Anomaly sequence. These are the notes I've taken. And that's one part, right? That's just the first ripple. And then from there, this is where you and all of you can oof, you guys can really take it to the next level, is by all dropping your social pages below. Because this space, and I hate it. I hate it so much. This entire space is so tainted. It's so tainted in the way that there's so much noise that can mislead you. Because you and I, we both started exactly the same. Let's be completely honest. You've been led on by this shiny object syndrome. I've been led on by the shiny object syndrome as well. I saw dudes driving fast cars in 2018 when I just started. I turned 18. I was legally allowed to open up an account, and I first started trading on just those mobile platforms, whether that was Bucks, plus 500, all that good stuff. I can see if I can answer that. Where I can find that, but I obviously don't have that platform anymore. But those platforms like plus 500, Bucks, all those good things, where I just opened an account and I was referring phone numbers from my classmates to trade. Why? Because I saw other people, like Instagram wasn't necessarily new. It was very much up and coming compared to the platform that it is today. But I was still using Instagram to shoot pictures, right? Shooting very oversaturated pictures of my dog. Like, oh, look at my dog. Hashtag dogs. Hashtag Insta day. Hashtag those type of things. But there were guys that realized, oh yeah, whoa, social media is the platform to easily flaunt things, right? If you wanted to visit and see wealth before in abundance, you have to actually see it in person. But now you can just look it up on your phone, and that's the issue, right? So I was led on so early on already with the shiny object syndrome, and now it's even easier, right? Now it's more than ever the most jaded thing there is, right? And in my honest opinion, maybe biased opinion, but it's not a good biased opinion, that Forex is one of the most tainted, jaded, high income skills there is. Because it's your, but you could argue this for everything, and then there's not really any pride in it being the worst, right? If you compare it to e-com or copywriting or anything else. But it's out of all the Wi-Fi money skills, I believe that it's one of the most tainted ones, because you're printing money out of thin air, right? And a big issue with that, in my opinion, is also the lack of societal benefit there is, right? So that's where I had a big void that I wanted to fill. And it may sound super hard to believe and it's like super cliche, but I do get a lot of energy from explaining my thought process to others. In that way, I really see myself as someone that can teach very well, right? And I can level head with people very well. And that's also why I've seen such great success with my students within AO, which get one-to-one direct guidance. And at the same time, now is the opportunity to do that with you. And it's not one-on-one, sure, but I will be laying down everything I know, anything that you can kind of dive into in terms of a rabbit hole, I will explain. All the tools I'll lay out in front of you, and it's up to you to decide which ones work best for you. So coming back to that, what you can do and what now you have the most beautiful opportunity, what you can do here is all of you follow each other. The beacon is already a place of acting like this sanctuary, right? This area where we've already got 1,500 people there, where maybe 300 are active in the role that they can see all the different topics, and that's great, right? But what you can do now is you can elevate that one more step further, right? And you can do so by creating some sort of social media page for yourself where you can document your journey and you can look back. But you can also now, and this is what I meant, all of you find each other, right? I've created this circle of competence right here with where I've kind of shed light upon it, and it will attract, let's say, you and your peers and your fellow people that are in this anomaly sequence. And by doing so, you've already got so much more of a foundation looking at the right direction. And from there, it's unlimited, right? It's infinite. What you can pursue from here goes way beyond what I will ever be able to achieve on my own. And it's not for my own benefit, but it is to spread this kind of common ground of knowledge, of abundance, of I would like to call this that this could be the paradigm shift in the space where you get this unity, because I am in no competition with anyone else other than myself, but myself. I think that's the right phrasing. This space has been, when I put my positions out, and that's what bothers me the most, is I'll be putting my positions out and there will be people, and you might have that as well, if you are a good trader and you try to put this stage and you try to put yourself on the stage, you will notice that there will be people quote unquote preying on your downfall, or there will always be naysayers, right? There will always be people that are like, you get so much more noise when you're wrong publicly than when you're right. At the date of this recording, I'm on a 5-trade win streak, and it was the wind. It will blow by. No one bats an eye. But the next trade that I put out and it gets finessed, I'll be remembered like that. That's me. You're only as good as your last trade. And definitely in the public space, that's a very, very unfortunate way that it goes about like this. So what I really want to kind of showcase and what I want to pinpoint here is that you have the chance to change that for the better, right? What Anomaly's sequence creates, it creates this kind of bubble, this little sanctuary, whether that's under the Discord, but overall, there's this tag now. There's this stigma around Anomaly's sequence where you are committing to this process. You are learning everything from me, but you're also surrounded by others that are in exactly the same process as you are. And there's no reason not to connect with each other. There's no reason to kind of singulate yourself and put yourself outside of it, right? Like there's the saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone, and if you want to go far, you go together. But in trading, and I can say that from the bottom of my heart, that together, no matter where in your journey, sure, you gotta, I can say all these cliche things, is you gotta hop off multiplayer to play the story mode a little bit. Cool, kind of cringe. But at the same time, here with trading, it's always nice to have someone. I think it's one of the most misunderstood, markets, jobs, right, that you can have, because no one gets the work that you put in, right? People just think you do graphs. Oh, you're a wannabe finance dude. I've been in this space for 8 years, right? 8 years. And I can say, honestly, 8 years, 8 years. 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 8 8 years, man. And throughout those 8 years, the amount of times that people will not understand what you're going through, that people cannot see the underlying work that you're putting in this process. Whether you're learning, and I'm still learning, right? The beautiful thing of this is there's no static plateau to trading. Whatever market you're trading, whether you're trading indices, futures, right? Whether you're trading crypto, Forex, anything, commodities, you name it, whatever instrument you trade, there's never an end point. And especially with what I got to partake in, even in my journey so far, being, buy side professional trading under regulatory firms and whatnot, and executing on the market, direct market access, all that good stuff. There's never an end, right? And there's only so much that you can do in one lifetime. And what I want to do, and what I get the most amount of energy from, is getting and collecting all these like-minded people together. Because I wish I had a group that I am creating when I was starting, right? Because I know exactly what you're going through. I know what it feels like to be there. You're in class, you're looking away, you've got your trading view open, and you've got whatever course that you illegally downloaded open. Um, and that's also part of the issue, don't get me wrong. I didn't commit early enough to let's say a community. I was hopping over numerous different free PDFs like Steve Morrow, the market maker model. Shout out Steve Morrow. Those type of things, and then I was going into like 50 pips a day trading gold, and there are millions of ways to roam, right? I could spend a whole video like this just going over my history of strategies I've traded. And that's also the beautiful aspect of this entire space, is that there is no one strategy that works. It's a dynamic market, right? At the end of the day, there will be an infinite amount of factors that you can make a technical edge of. And there are going to be moments that you're going to be transitioning from being a mechanical trader with blindly trusting, let's say, some sort of edge that you learned from a mentor or from someone, to deviating from it and applying it yourself, right? Because that is kind of what I'm going to be doing to you. And I'm going to struggle with that, right? Because it's like that time that you're doing your math homework, right, with your dad, and you just cannot comprehend how to multiply these numbers. He's shouting at you. He's like, just fucking do it. 4 times 4, dude. It's not that difficult. And you've got tears on the paper. We've all been there. It's gonna be like that. I'm gonna find it so difficult to relate from potentially an area where you are struggling with something with that I'm explaining. And so bear with me as well, right? That's all I ask. I ask you to bear with me during this process. But again, if you are committed to this process, I will be as committed to make sure that you succeed in this process as well. My goal throughout this entire sequence is to kind of revolutionize, in that sense, the theory that is being talked about at the moment, to shed light upon my journey as well, the lessons that I learned in my journey, and just give you overall all the tools that you need actually in order to create a blueprint that you can stick to and that you can apply yourself. Because that's what I wanted to say. At the end of the day, right, there are an infinite amount of factors that will dictate the way that you enter the market, or potentially enter the market and exit the market, right? There are going to be numerous different ways that you can trade your risk management, right? And there are going to be infinite variables that affect your psychological aspect of trading as well. So these are all things that are kind of out of my control, right? I'll be telling you a lot about them. I won't be just skimming over them. I believe that two of the main pillars of trading, those three being obviously your technical analysis, your risk management, and then your mental edge of trading. These three are kind of this triangle, right, that makes you a profitable or an unprofitable trader. And kind of the issue with is you cannot sustain all three the whole time. There are going to be moments that you will see cracks in these edges, in these walls, in these pillars that you built up, and that you will inevitably have to adapt, right? On that note, adaptability, that's kind of the last thing that I want to finesse about in this little analogy, is that adaptability is actually the most key aspect to trading. You can kind of see that with any edge, especially any technical edge, you have, and you're executing it spot on, you're executing it just standard textbook. You have this lifespan of roughly 16 to 18 months of it just being like textbook, textbook, textbook. And within those 16 to 18 months, you will have negative months. I think that's one of the hardest pills to swallow for many traders, is the fact that you will have a red month. Happens. That's very normal. You can't have 12 green months, or if you do have that, now do that for 4 years. You will lose, right? And your edge, there's no edge out there that wins the whole time. 100% strike rate, win rate doesn't exist. And I don't want to go into the stupid arguments, yeah, but statistically, you're not going to have that, and it's not going to be sustainable. My point being is that your edge, and the edge that I'm explaining to you as well, will be something that will have to adapt. Maybe not now, but maybe a year from now, maybe a little bit more than a year from now. But I'm giving you the resources and everything from mindset aspect as well to help you kind of prepare for that, to give you an area where you could potentially do that adaptation yourself, right? Regardless of that gap, right? That gap between execution, ideology and execution is super important, and execution and adaptation is super important. The smaller that gap is, the more successful you will be. And that's what I believe is one of my greatest strengths, is that I'm able to adapt very, very quickly. Why? Because I've got so much data behind me already. Like I don't second guess my strategy. I don't second guess the way that I enter. When I want to enter the market, I do so because I've seen these things happen over and over again, and I've built such a, let's say, edge over nearly 3-4 years of this strategy, that it just works, right? But that discretionary side of things is not something that you can just gain from me, right? You need to first blindly trust this process and commit to this knowledge and this type of learning and type of trading. Once you've finished that commitment and you've absorbed everything that I've got to give to you, you can start relaying that information yourself, right? You can start implementing that information yourself, but only that discretionary side of things, that expert side of things, will only come a couple years later. And that's another hard pill to swallow, is that you won't be an expert. I'm not an expert. Some of you may see me as like a self-proclaimed expert, and that's okay. I do believe I have some type of knowledge that others don't, but I am also constantly evolving. I'm adapting week on week, trade on trade, and I have the luxury to do so because I can blindly trust my strategy as well. But enough about that. So what I want you to do from there on, and with all of this knowledge that I'm about to give you, is also take it in such a sense that we're going to be building it in a chronological order. Some of you may be completely new to trading, have no idea what even a candlestick is. And I will be going over those basics. And for the guys that already know all of that, don't skip through it, because there's going to be certain mannerisms as to how I explain certain things, which will be different from potentially what you already learned. And that will rewire your current thought process. And from there, we can build. We're building up that foundation. We're taking it to the next level. And then we're going into very, very in-depth topics, kind of those advanced topics. And we'll be building, let's say, models, right? It's not going to be difficult, but in order to get there, right, in order to get to a point, and I think, that'll be like 40, 50 videos down the line, you need to take it serious, right? Because my thing that I realize with you, with all of you, is you're not willing to do it. You're not willing to take the step. Thinking about doing it isn't necessarily doing it. Planning all these things, that you will watch this video, you will make the Instagram page, you will add others, you will join the server, is not doing it. The only way that you will actually become that trader that you want to be is by actually doing it. And it sucks how simple it is. It's not easy, don't get me wrong, but it's simple. Very simple. It's not rocket science. The thing is that you're scared. I was scared too when I started, right? You're deviating a little bit from the standard path, right? You're deviating from, like, my backstory is I started when I was 18 with those apps, Bucks, Plus 500, numerous different personal aspects as well that maybe I'll find the courage to talk about in later videos. But I was studying when I was 18. I moved to Amsterdam alone, while my family was still in Rotterdam. And it may not sound super difficult, but during that period of time, right, I was with my bachelor's in business administration. During that period of time, I was very, very busy with that academic route, and there was nothing wrong with that, right? I've got two older siblings. They're brilliant, they're super smart, and they did the whole bachelor's master's vibes, right? That's what made your parents proud, right? Getting that piece of paper. And it's maybe something that I'll regret at the moment. I don't, but maybe in the future I will. And in that case, right, regret always hurts a lot more than fear. So make sure that if you're scared right now, realize that that is the shorter end of the straw, right? So take that leap, do it. And I was very much afraid as well, but I was up against this stigma, this meta, especially in my family, of getting your academics, getting your bachelor's. And I was privileged enough, right? There are lots of people that aren't fortunate enough to even do a bachelor's, right? Or even to do the high school education that I did, being international baccalaureate or IGCSE. Very, very good opportunities. Those opportunities, if I took those serious, which again I didn't, and that may be the regret I could have 20 years down the line. Regardless, I had those opportunities, and I was very much against all odds, against all favorable scenarios. I was going against all of them. I was trading I was not spending time with my academics. I wasn't getting good grades, and I was, in my opinion, a natural born entrepreneur, uh, because my father and I, he saw this. He was a businessman as well. He was a consultant, and he had this drive, this beautiful drive, for just this entrepreneurial aspect and helping others do that as well. And I think I've got a lot of that from him, where I love and I enjoy teaching others and seeing that aha moment click in, let's say, my mentees is what brings me a lot of joy as well. But he saw that I had this drive for this entrepreneurial aspect of things, and that was back in the day when I was 16, 17. The whole hype around streetwear and Yeezys and Supreme and all that good stuff. I saw the business model in that. It's not really a business model, but just the fact, scarcity, and lack of opportunity to access these shoes or to be able to buy them, obviously drives the price into these crazy numbers, right? You can get a pair for 220, these V2s, Yeezy 350s, right? And you could flip that for four figures, right? And as a 16, 17 year old, that was a lot of money. And with that money, I had more than I should have had. That's maybe something, a blessing in disguise, right? I've done lots of stupid things when I was very young with this abundance amount of money, because I scaled that quite effortlessly, especially in the Netherlands, right? In Rotterdam, it wasn't as big as it was in the US, or even in Amsterdam, and managed to connect with a couple of people, and suddenly you're quite the yeah. It's not really a cool name, but you're quite the kingpin in that in that sector, going to conventions and whatnot, and buying up tables of just shoe boxes, and suddenly you had 30, 40 pairs, and boop, 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 the business continues, right? It was a numbers game, and that number crunching was very, very fun to do. But what it comes down to, and what I kind of want to relate back to, is with that capital, I also realized, and I had the intentions to make more of it. And one of the ways was those stupid advertisements that you saw from Bucks and plus 500, and the way that you've been misled through social media is the way that I've kind of been misled with people as well. Gold mines, right? Those guys, on Bucks, it was like this chat group, and they were trading gold. And again, if there's one tip and you're new to this entire trading space and CFDs, don't trade gold, please don't. It's the most volatile, because it's a commodity, right? And wrapped up in a CFD, in a contract for difference, just doesn't work. Rather trade it over the counter or anything. It's just like people claiming themselves to be like derivatives traders while they're trading CFD. Although it is a derivative, it's you're not. At the end of the day, you and I know my lane, right? But I also have professional background on direct market access. I don't pretend to be a market maker. I don't pretend to be an analyst. I don't pretend to be a quant, right? I'm low touch, and the thing is, I've been professional buy side as well, but I don't claim to be something that I'm not when it comes to. We're clicking buttons on a phone, right? At the end of the day, we're at the end of the day, it's that, right? We're not doing anything like too crazy when it comes to just meta trader, right? CFD, and all that good stuff. So I don't claim to be some sort of JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, any type of guy that's Bloomberg terminal. Although I've got crazy setups, don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near the guys that are actually in high frequency or that are actual quants. So my point being, we kind of stirred away from the plot here. My apologies for that. Those groups, right? gold traders, that's one thing. Don't fall for the trap of gold traders. Exactly why I'm telling you, if you are here and you are here for a reason, put the blinders on, commit to it, commit to this. I beg you, please. Because your entire trajectory of your life, and that's not sugarcoating it, and that's not trying to sell you a dream or anything, but the entire trajectory of your life can change in the span of 4 months. And it's the reality of it. The problem is that your internal monologue that you have with yourself doesn't allow you to. You are not confident in your own capabilities. You think that you don't deserve the abundance lifestyle that you want to pursue, that you're not capable of these dreams that you want to chase. But what I can tell you here is that if you take that leap, that net will eventually appear. Trust your own wings to eventually fly when you need to. And that is exactly what you need to be doing here. I'm here to give you an opportunity. I'll be laying down an exact roadmap of how we're going to tackle all of this. How we're also going to be talking about every mental barrier that I've gone through in my journey as well. And how you can take those lessons and apply them yourself, even though you haven't fallen into the same pitfall that I have. It'll be very difficult, right? I don't really know how we're going to do that. And I just want to make sure that we manage expectations accordingly. But the rest is up to you. The rest is in your hands. The entire fate of your future is in your hands. And I know some of you have been dealt a worse hand, right? But that doesn't mean that you're going to fold, because you're not going to be dealt another hand. You only get one chance at this. That's why I've got two quotes written on my body, right, in terms of tattoos, and they're here. They're permanent, obviously. That's what they're here for. One of them says on my hand, it's this one that says, "Dream until it's your reality." It's a big one, because you've got two options, right? Only dreaming about it, or actually making it your reality. And that requires action. That requires commitment. Because if you really fixate your mind to it, and, it's not manifestation, it's not speaking, hoping that the spirits will guide you and present it to you. But if the thoughts inside of our head make up who we are, the way that we compromise ourselves, the way that we talk about ourselves, and if you can flip the narrative there into this more of an abundance mindset, then obviously you will eventually also start taking actions in this abundant mindset. You will be putting yourself first. You will be aiming for the moon, landing on the stars, or whichever way that quote goes. Aim for the stars, land on the moon. Aim for the moon, land between the stars. You'll be a star. That's what it comes down to. The other one is that I have here is, as long as the dice is still rolling, you will get your 6. Now, that's another good one, right? Obviously the 6 being the one that's most favorable, but as long as you are here, and as long as the dice are still rolling, you will get your 6. And you're the one holding the dice. And you're the one rolling them as well. And you can keep on rolling that dice, and eventually you will get your 6. The beautiful thing is you can fail, and you're allowed to fail. Even with this, right? I'm at the end of the day, you're not doing this for me. You're doing it for yourself. My benefit that I gain from this is potentially expanding my legacy, because I know I can't do that alone. That's what I want to do with you. I want to expand my legacy out towards the entire world. I want as many people to be in line, in this unison, in this communal feeling with each other. I don't want any competition anymore in this space. I don't want this whole one strategy against others, one being better than the rest. Although, you know, sure, there's this clairvoyancy with the way that I like to express myself and that I like to showcase my charts as well, which has my bias to it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. You know, whether you're trading support and resistance and you're profitable, that's great. But I'm here to teach you my way that I got profitable, my edge. And the more people that can stick to that, and eventually you will maybe have your own adaptation of that and you can pass it on to someone else. Right? I can't get that second ripple into effect. All I can do is get the first ripple. You can be the second. And then whoever is inspired by you will be the third and fourth and so on. I'm inspired to inspire. And you are seeking inspiration. And my goal is for you is that I'm that inspiration, right? And from there, we can create this effect. You get all the eyes looking in one direction and working together and holding each other accountable and creating that communal feeling and really supporting each other. Because in this space, there's too little support. Ask yourself this, you know, who do you share your victories with? Especially in this trading space, who can you share your victories with? Who's the first person you'll call up when you've passed your challenge? When you've been like, hey, yo, if there is no one because no one understands you, then you're obviously not in the right community just yet. And I want to do that here. It's this sense of unity, this sense of urgency as well to succeed because your companions are succeeding, not your competition. You and everyone else in this comment section or in this Discord or wherever this is being shared and wherever you are deciding to commit, these are your companions. You can all become anomalies. You can all become outliers because the average in this space is so low. The average in this space is so low in terms of that abundance mindset, but also just in terms of skill, accuracy, accountability, humility, transparency. Whereas my goal is to share all of that with you, and all you need to do is take little bits and pieces of that and really kind of plant that seed in your own soil, and then from there inspire others one more time. Because again, you can fail. That's beautiful. And if people see you fail and coming back, that's even more beautiful. I've been in this process for 8 years. I've had so many different aliases in terms of names. Some of you may still know me as Golden Boy or as FX Joker, or we had Chart Architects. We had a really cool group, Les Magiciens du Monde, the magicians of the world. It was with this close circle. FXM, all these cool names. New Eden, obviously, which was great. But at the end of the day, now the Anomaly, cool. But I want you guys all to become outliers. This is Anomaly's sequence. This is the sequence to what it's going to take for you to become an anomaly. Because the norm is so far deviated from what it should be. We should be supporting each other. You should have peers, companions in your circle of competence, which is the presentation that I've done now twice at live events. And I believe that helps a lot, and I'll be uploading that somewhere as well in this sequence where you can view my presentation that I did for these live events as a guest speaker. But the concept of that is your circle of competence, what you are good at. And I'm about to teach you what you are good at. But there are going to be ways that you can iterate my information, or the ways that you perceive my information, that will be different than the best man on the left or the best man on the right, right? And by doing so, and if you just don't try to conflict each other because you're not in each other's lane, right? At the end of the day, there's no lane in trading, right? Because the whole concept of liquidity is the fact that you and we are so insignificant. We're a speck of dust. I will never be able to be in your, let's say, lane, and likewise you will never be in mine, and we'll never be in each other's way. So there's nothing to worry about in that case either. And that's where this circle of competence comes in. And if you have the right communities, and that's kind of the issue. There's one of two things. And in such a way, the space is healing, in my opinion. And I want to kick that momentum even further. I don't say, and I don't claim to be a pioneer whatsoever, right? Before you view me from the wrong angle, I'm not here to say that I'm going to be the first one to do this, right? You've seen these style of sequences of these videos before, but from a very different angle, a very Andrew Tate motivating type of angle. And that's not the way that I'm going to go about it. Maybe this is not your cup of tea, and that's okay, right? If the way that I'm portraying myself to you, and the way that I want to amplify and motivate you is not the David Goggins type of style that you wanted, then so be it. That's totally fine. But if you realize that this is an opportunity, a golden opportunity to be super serious about trading and about changing your life for the better and changing the entire trajectory of your life for the better, now is the time to dial in. Now is the time to put those blinders on and start putting in those iterations over and over and over again, because that is my goal. My goal with you is to implement pretty much my concepts, my theories, for you to implement my concept and my theories, and from there to reassess, reevaluate, and actually gain benefit from them, yield profits from them. And that's not because that will make my legacy better than others. No, but it will eventually benefit all of you. If you do this right, and I'm telling you, if you do this right, you just need to focus on this. All you got to do is just focus on this, and that's it. Right? There's no micmac here. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm not teaching you a plug-and-play model. Right? I'm teaching you everything, and it might be a little bit longer than those plug-and-play models. And that's what my students realized as well, that are within AO. They've realized that, okay, hey, I'm not getting the 90-day promise of being a profitable trader. I cannot make that guarantee, because I know there's a lot more to it than 90 days and praying that the market will suffice on this model. I can, in a one-pager, in an A4, I can list your top 5 mentors' entire course, because their entire course is a plug-and-play model. Different ways of entering the market. That's not trading, because that only works until it doesn't. And then your mentor will end up with me because they want to actually learn how to trade, how to adapt, how to understand themselves to a point that they can implement those adaptations in their best benefit and still reap the rewards from it. Because I have a wide arsenal of ways that I can enter the model, but I don't have a concrete, let's say, this is what I'm going to do there. Because sure, I'm a lot more of a discretionary trader, but I've got so much data to back that up. And I know when I can enter the market based off of different entry models. But that's not even the fun part, right? Entering the market is the last thing that you should be worried about. It's the easiest part is entering the market. It's the work up until entering the market that is where it becomes difficult. Creating that narrative, understanding your risk management, creating that entire bias, understanding exactly where you will exit the market, right? Where you will be invalidated in the market, and what to do when none of your ideas shape up. Are you going to be adapting? Are you going to be chasing price? Absolutely not. Which scenarios, it's logic. At the end of the day, it's this logic tree that you're building. And that's what I'm going to be giving to you. I'm going to be giving you all underlying theory, right? No bullshit. I'm not here to claim that there is, and if you know me and you've seen my liquidity videos already, I'm a firm believer that the current meta, the current stigma of people trading SMC and ICT is significantly flawed. It contradicts what I just said, where I was like, hey, I don't want there to be any beef. In theoretical terms, there's a huge flaw. That is where I believe I can improve the space. That's one of my underlying goals that I want to do. Other than that, there is, professional trading comes down to implementing this strategy, this edge that you create, and doing that consistently, sticking to your plan day on day, trade on trade, trade on trade. And also then knowing when to adapt, right? Two huge key pivotal factors here. But all these things don't matter unless you do. And the only way for you to matter is if you become somebody. And the only way for you to do that is if you commit, right? So what you want to be doing, so please, if you haven't already done so, now I'm asking you to do it, is to pause the video in like 2 or 3 minutes, right? So what I want you to do is just get it dialed in, create that page, right? Ask, okay, cool, boom, Instagram, username, and you don't overthink it, right? So many people, and that's with everything, right? Whatever hobby or passion you have, it's with everything. Whether you are trying to start some sort of, agency or some sort of, real estate business, many people already get stuck at the start of it. Like, oh, and it needs to be perfect at the start. It doesn't. Create it now, perfect it later. And that's with trading, exactly the same. And that's with your journey, it's exactly the same. I have that with many of my students as well. I'm telling them like, oh, document it a lot more, because I couldn't do it. You're gonna look back. You're gonna be so thankful for that I told you. You're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, oh, this was great. You can go back. You can see your entire journey, and you can look back and you can be like, oh, it's all been in one place. Because how beautiful is it, when you go back to your childhood pictures that your parents put into the books, and you don't have the memories of that. But it's exactly that. You can look back in 2 years and be like, oh, this is when I started this journey with Anomaly sequence, and then you took my information and maybe you pursued another route after that. Maybe you joined AO in the future, or maybe you joined a subsidiary of AO. Fuck knows. But the fact that you can now have it all in one place is significantly better than whatever you're doing now. And if you can do that, your best friend on the left can do that as well. And together you can hold yourself accountable. Do you see the vision here? Do you understand the potential that is right in front of you? Because what I'm going to be doing for the next X amount of days, and that all depends on how serious you are about this, what I'm going to be doing for the next X amount of days is laying everything out there. Because I can go on forever. I can make this a 40, 50 video series. I just need you to emulate and reiterate that enthusiasm, because that would motivate me a lot more, realizing, damn, it's clicking for you. It's clicking for you, and I can see the transformation. I can see how tangible it's becoming, and I want to add more to that. Sounds like a deal? If we can agree upon that, and you can pause the video now if you haven't already done so, and you can type it in and just tag me, share it, I'll repost it. Let's get this movement started. Whatever you want, you know, whether it's in the bio or whether it's a story or whatnot, follow the journey. Doesn't need to be perfect. None of this needs to be perfect. It just needs to be there. It needs to be real. It needs to be tangible. You need to be able to see it and be like, this is the start of this journey. Because I promise you that if you are to do this for the next 4 months, that's all it takes. People say 6 months, people say a year. I'm saying 4 months. That's maybe where I'm overly confident, but I've realized that the last 8 months for me have just been breakthrough after breakthrough. And I've realized that you literally just need the first 4. You need to kickstart that first sprint. And you can all do that together. With me at the backbone of this, giving you guidance of what you need to do. You just need to do it. And you can achieve everything that you wanted to achieve. I'm not here to promise you financial freedom in 4 months. Absolutely not. But I will guarantee you that I will point you in the direction that you want to be. At the end of these 4 months, you will significantly be so much more of a better trader and a better individual than you were if you weren't to do this. Because why is it that you haven't taken action already? And if I sound passive aggressive, that's because I am. Why is it that you haven't taken any action already? And I realize that with myself, right? I realize that with anything. I look at myself, whether it's every pillar of my life, whether it's my physique, whether it's my social relationships, whether it's my family, my sleep, all these things, my trading. There's always going to be one that is a little bit loose. And I always realize that the most significant individuals, the most, let's say, looked up upon individuals, the key element that makes them so special is that they can act upon their ideas quickly. The quicker you act upon your ideas, the quicker you can also realize whether or not that's something for you. If you knew you were 10 failures away, how quickly would you fail? 10 failures away from success, from the big breakthrough. You hear it constantly over and over and over again, and that's because it's the truth. Eventually, it will click. And I'm not saying that it magically, right? There's no magic in this. It's not like you wake up one day and you're like, Eureka, I figured it all out. No, but eventually, after you've done these iterations enough times, you will move the lever in your favor. You will move that needle in your favor. And that snowball will gain traction. It will gain momentum. And then from there, it's this flywheel that just continues. And that flywheel gets significantly larger. It gets heavier, and you are going to get to a point that you are going to be required to put more input in order to get the same output, right? But that's all in the future, right? At the moment, and that's why it's the greatest gift that we have is the present. Too many people, I do that as well. You do that as well. You think too much in the future of, oh, well, before if I start this Instagram page for this journey, I need a better phone. I want to get a camera. No, you don't. Before I get a better trade, before I start trading on my 100 euros account, I actually want to trade on 1,000 euros account, or I want to get the props first, or I want to trade futures first. No, just do it. You're making excuses. You're procrastinating. Before I start running, I need better shoes. Sure, yeah, to a degree, there's an aspect of I'd rather see you run in good shoes, but you don't need the carbon-plated Alpha Flies. Same thing, and it goes with everything, right? Before I go to the gym, we're human. You and I, we do it. I do it. I still do it. I do it with everything. But understand that it's a flawed behavioral pattern, right? So just do it now. Promise me to do it now. And how we're gonna go about from this. So this is the first video, and I realize it's getting way too long, so I'm gonna try to wrap it up here. This is the first video. I want you in the comments to write down the date that you are starting this journey and the Instagram page that you are going to be documenting this journey on. If you really want to take it to the next step, tag me on Instagram. Put it on the story. This video, like this, bap. Video 1, holding myself accountable. It's like hard 75. You need to take a picture of your physique for 75 days. It's confronting. It sucks, because at the start of the journey, you look like shit. And at the end of the journey, you look significantly better. Why? Because you're doing the same. I've never seen hard work not pay off. And I'm telling you now, it's gonna be hard work, but it will pay off. If you knew how linear that input to output actually is, then why would you not do it? Sure, the correlation is not linear with the result that you want, but you don't need to be result driven. You're too focused on being result oriented instead of process oriented. I'm giving you the process. I'm telling you what to do. I'm literally telling you the whole process, everything else, the success, the payouts, the percentage gains, the investor money, the track record, whatever the fuck you will do afterwards is a byproduct of the process that I am about to give you. So take your phone, open up the account, create a new page, do it for me, but also do it for yourself. Because in the next 4 months, right, you go out 120 days, give or take, you will see the difference is night and day. You're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, holy shit, this is the best thing that I've ever done. I locked in for 4 months. I'm a better trader. I'm a better person. And voila, you've become an anomaly. The entire trajectory of this is in your hands, but also the entire fate of it is in your hands. And I am honored, I'm thrilled, I'm excited to guide you through it. So if you're ready, let's shake hands on that. Promise me that you'll commit to this. Promise me that you are about to enter the next sprint of your life for the better, because that is exactly how I'm going to make you an anomaly. So without further ado, lock in, and I'm excited to see you tomorrow for the first video. See you there.